It has been a while. Let me know if this microphone is working. I don't even know how to live stream anymore. We have one person in the chat off the rip, so I appreciate you for hopping in here. I might have to check on YouTube to make sure that this thing is working and listen to myself speak, which is my least favorite thing to do. Let's see what's up. Oh, beautiful. It's working. And we got nobody in the chat, but we got a like. Might have been me. Some people are saying it might have been me. Let me share this on Twitter. How do I do that? Yeah, let's tweet that out and see what happens. Let's tweet that out and see how many people actually want to hear a fraud's advice about fantasy football. I know I wouldn't. Not one bit. This is always the worst part of a live stream, especially when I just feel like live streaming spur of the moment because nobody's in here and I just sit alone with my thoughts, and there's no place I'd rather be than away from inside of my head. Josh, trust me, you don't need to work. I heard you work in a bank. So you probably don't have any work to do. And of course, once I start live stream, my dogs start barking. I love this. Absolutely love it. I believe your name is Tarek. I'm not going to say the name on the screen because it could probably get me canceled for the second half of it. He's making a Philly cheesesteak with all the fixings. I don't know what that entails. Probably some cheese and some steak. One of the few foods that its entire recipe is in the name. Mac and cheese, ground beef, and your wife is looking at you weird. It's a crazy world we live in where people can be married and at the same time watch a fraud like me. Well, tell your wife I said hello. Not in a disrespectful way. Ooh. I call this a Q&A. So if you have questions, I will A them. And I'm not sure to what ability I can A them, but I will give it my best shot. She walked away. Your wife walked away. Listen, we all have those issues with women. How worried are we for Zach Wilson in Dynasty? That kind of rhymed. That offensive line stinks. Mekhi Becton's hurt. Their weapons group, I don't think, is what suits him the best, or at least how they're using their weapons group right now. Elijah Moore is getting a lot of run, but they're not throwing to him a ton. I'm just rhyming the whole time. And I'm not too worried because I think he'll have a long leash. The fact that they just got rid of Sam Darnold and they spent the second overall pick on him, I think that they have some sort of commitment to Zach Wilson. So I'm going to keep rolling with him in Dynasty. As far as this year goes, though, wouldn't be surprised if it's a throwaway season. Then again, he played the fucking Patriots who kill everyone, including Justin Herbert. So I wouldn't worry too often or too much about him. But you have to recognize he's in a tough division with teams like Brian Flores coaching the Dolphins, a tough defense in Buffalo, a tough defense and coaching staff in New England. It's going to be tough sledding for the kid right off the rip. Nick wants 2 firsts for Saquon. I don't know. I'm not a fan of him. He was really good as a rookie, and he was decent to start his second year, if I remember correctly. Then he got hurt. Then he got hurt again. His quarterback fucking stinks. His offensive line isn't good. Their defense isn't as good as we thought that they would be. He doesn't look to be as explosive as he once was. And if you're of the mindset that, oh, this isn't his year, next year will be his year, he's becoming Joe Mixon. He's becoming a guy who just gets older and older, and you think he's going to get better as he gets older. And time over time, we learn that as running backs get older, they start to fucking stink. So 2 firsts for him is probably a fair price, but if there one's an early first, I know this class isn't loaded, but we also thought that 2 years ago, and then Joe Burrow went number 1 overall in terms of quarterbacks. So yeah, I would probably, it depends what you're looking for. If you're rebuilding, keep the firsts. If you're competing, honestly, still maybe even hold the firsts. You finally got your BDGE bid for little Noah. Your kid's name is Noah? I love that. It's a great name. How worried are you about Tua? I don't know. I thought he was going to be good this year. Their weapons group isn't bad. We haven't seen Will Fuller play yet. And right when he's about to play, Tua dies. So I'm not all too worried. People could say he's injury prone, but I don't know how his rib cage has to do with his prior hip and knee injuries. I'm not a doctor. I just spent 7 years in college and I'm still unemployed, but I do think that he's not going to live up to those expectations of tanking for Tua, but they are moving in the right direction, trying to get him playmakers and pieces that fit what he's good at, whether it's Will Fuller, whether it is Jalen Waddle. They already have Devontae Parker, and they're probably not going to have a high pick next year, but it looks like a pretty luxury landing spot for some people in the offseason because in Miami and in Florida, they don't have any state income tax. That's why all these basketball players like going there too. I believe Utah doesn't as well, some bullshit like that, but I think that they will build around him and give him all the opportunities to look better. But at the same time, if people want to buy into that hype, I wouldn't mind selling him either. Would you trade Kareem Hunt in a first for Barkley? I would, yes. I don't value Kareem Hunt as a first-round pick player because we've seen time and time again how valuable these first-round picks are, whether it's, I mean, even a second-round pick like Rondell Moore is showing out, but all these running backs we've seen in the past, some wide receivers, Jamar Chase is paying off. Kyle Pitts looks like the real deal. Kareem Hunt's a guy who sounds nice if you're paying a late first, but then you get into the season, and right now, are you like confident ever starting Kareem Hunt outside of like a flex play? No, not really. Same thing with Josh Jacobs. People hate me in the offseason because I said, you know, he finished RB8, RB10, but you never like starting him. And they're like, oh, but he was good. We're 2 weeks into the season. He was hurt 1 week. The other week, he went like 10 for 34 and 2 touchdowns. It's not fun owning the guy. I'd rather trade those type of players away. Mark Andrews is going to start playing any better. That's out of his control. His quarterback can't throw all too well unless it's like the Sammy Watkins who can't catch all too well. Should I drop Zach Pascal for Christian Kirk? Boss man fat, if Christian Kirk is on your waiver wire, I can guarantee you there are better options on your waiver wire than Christian Kirk because people are trying to buy into this Arizona Cardinals offense. Let me know if there's anybody else on your waivers because Zach Pascal with like Jacob Eason, I'm not a fan of, and Christian Kirk is like third or fourth in line now. There's got to be better options. And I would say I would drop Pascal for something other than Christian Kirk. Non-PPR redraft, Kelsey, Javonte McLaurin, or Monty, Kittle, Waller. Give me that first side very, very easily. Kelsey, for as good as Kittle is, he's not been good this year. Kelsey is infinitely better. And I'd almost do Kelsey for that entire package. Javonte is looking like the real deal. Gordon's about to be out of there. And then McLaurin. I mean, Kelsey and McLaurin alone give me that side. I don't think, unless I was offered to you, I don't see that trade being made because I don't think the other person is going to really entertain that. Start 1.5 PPR. Sutton, Marv, Devonta Smith, or Damian Harris. I'm going to have to look up matchups because, oh, Antonio Brown got COVID. Would you look at that? Let me look at these matchups because, as I said, I am a fraud. And I don't know exactly who they're playing. Based off of just name value and play style, I would go Cortland Sutton. I'm pretty sure Sutton plays the Jets, don't they? The Jets fucking stink. Yeah, I'd probably go Cortland Sutton. I know that Eagles play Cowboys. You got to wait till Monday night. I don't want to sweat it over Jalen Hurts not throwing him the ball. Damian Harris is kind of touchdown dependent. Marvin Jones is just on a terrible team. He's getting a lot of use, but he is playing the Cardinals, and the Cardinals pass rush is about to eat that idiot Trevor Lawrence alive. So I'd be between Cortland Sutton and Devonta Smith. Flip a coin, but I'd probably go Sutton. I'm thinking of trading Mixon in a 2021 first for Saquon and Dynasty thoughts. I'd keep Mixon in that case. Dynasty 10-man. Traded Swift and Tyson for A.J. Brown. Big W for me. It's a fair trade. Depends if you want wide receivers or running backs. The fact that it's 10-team means that running backs are a little bit more plentiful as opposed to if it was a 12-team. I like A.J. Brown a lot, so that's about a fair deal. Where do you see Kyle Pitts being in 3 years? Probably the hospital with the way that Matt Ryan is throwing him the ball, but also like the Dynasty tight end 1. I think he's going to be too athletic to fail, too talented to fail. And even if Matt Ryan's gone, they're going through a quarterback change. I think he will succeed. I am an optimist. Does Elijah Mitchell stink or should I hold out hope? He does stink. But you should also hold out hope because he's in San Francisco and it doesn't matter how bad he sucks. Sneaky waiver wire pickup. Jeff Wilson. I think they have a bye week 6 and then he comes back week 7. He's probably healthy because ACLs aren't what they used to be unless it was an Achilles and I'm mistaken. I would prefer him to anybody in San Francisco when healthy. But Elijah Mitchell is athletic, and that's just about it right now. Too soon to abandon the San Francisco backfield. You have Mitchell and gave up a ton to acquire Sermon. I would give up on those two options. If you can still trade Mitchell for like a middling RB2, I would probably rather have Tyson Williams than him. I would rather have Chase Edmonds than him. even like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, although he sucks, you can probably swing that. I wouldn't be buying, is what I'll say. I would sell or hold. Just look at all the analyst positions like credit analyst, business analyst, operations analyst, innovation analyst. I don't know what that entails, but thank you, Josh. What's Pollard worth in PPR? In redraft, back in RB2. In Dynasty, I'd pay a few seconds for him. The tough thing in redraft is like, sure, he had an awesome game this week, but week one, I don't know, he scored a touchdown, but beyond the touchdown, what did he really do that made you feel confident in that? Zeke is still getting a shit ton of work. I guess Gallup is out, so he's going to see more touches and targets, Tony Pollard is, but he's not going to win the starting job. For as good as he looks and as bad as people say Zeke is going to be out there in the field more than Pollard every single week, and you're not going to be able to trust him. E-Man, Hunter Renfrow, Gage, McCole Hardman. Oh, these are the guys on your waivers? Okay, I would pick up Osborne and Sanders, one of those two. Sanders is getting a whole lot of targets, and those targets are high-value targets. They're deep down the field, and Josh Allen is just missing him. And Osborne I would pick up because he's getting a lot of targets on a team that's throwing quite a bit and using a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. Why would I abandon Mitchell? He looks good. Does he look good? I mean, everybody in San Francisco is going to look good. My feelings about him as a player don't matter because Kyle Shanahan's going to feed him, but I don't think that he's going to be what everybody expected and what I expected him to be after week 1 in that week 1 pickup. I would rather trade him away for somebody who right now is equal value, but their prospects are looking up like a Javonte Williams. Should you trade Mahomes with Lockett for someone like Adams, or just trade Brady for a lower option and keep Mahomes? And you have Tom Brady. Lockett's really fucking good. In this new offense, he can get like 5 targets a game and turn that into a $150 and a tug. Adams has looked awesome, but this offense isn't what it used to be. Like against the Lions, he should have done. Or he should have did what he did. He should have done what he did. Whatever the fuck I'm saying. It wasn't an impressive game given who they were playing against, is what I'm saying. I'm not out on Adams, and I'm not completely in on Tyler Lockett being a top 5 guy, but I would probably rather trade away Tom Brady and get yourself, I don't know how your league works in terms of trades, but if you can get yourself like somehow a CeeDee Lamb or like on the much lower end, like a Chris Godwin, I would do that. Should I trade McLaurin and Jonathan Taylor for Kamara and AB? Yes. Yes, you should. Jonathan Taylor is a good running back in real life, but his situation stinks. Would you trade Zeke for CEH and Ayuk in Dynasty? Yes, I would. For as bad as CEH looks, I think Ayuk carries a shit ton of value despite him being pretty poorly used, and I think that's a good buy low opportunity. Josh, I'm going to have to scroll up. I love you so much that I'm going to scroll up and read your prior message to the other message. You said, is he going to play any better? I don't know. In Dynasty, you managed to trade McLaurin for JT and trade Darnold, James White in a second round for Justin Jefferson. Big W's. Matt, I just called 911. The cops are on the way. RB2 spot PPR, Mitchell, Henderson, Gaskin, Pollard, Jamal. If Henderson plays despite playing against Tampa Bay, I would play him just because that offense is awesome. I don't know, among your other options, still just give me Elijah Mitchell. He's the only one that gets, I guess Jamal Williams gets guaranteed volume, but he's the only one with guaranteed volume and a good offense. If Tony Pollard was locked into the same role as last week and we felt confident in that, I would start Pollard, but I'm going to go Mitchell there. Sell high on D-Hop. Yes and no. I mean, he's still a top like 7-8 wide receiver. They spread the ball around so much. I think him and Keenan Allen are in a very similar conversation. And if you want to roll with the side of volume, I'd go Keenan Allen. It depends what you can get for him. How you feeling about Ayuk for Dynasty? I feel fine about him. He looked awesome last year. I don't think 2 games is going to make or break his career. What are you moving CEH for? Packaging him, or thoughts on comparable value right now, or hold? I have him in my home league. I'm trying to trade this bum. Nobody wants him. I've been trading for like fucking Mike Davis. Isn't getting declined. I don't know. He's just an enigma. I think right now you kind of have to hold him because his first 2 matchups against Cleveland and Baltimore aren't the most forgiving run defenses. I know he fumbled to lose them the game last week. The coaching staff is probably pissed the fuck off, but at this point, you might as well just hold him. Hopefully against the Chargers, who Kansas City always has a little shootout against. He shows up and shows up big time, then you can sell him off that. Or maybe he like starts to build confidence and his ankle feels better. Pick 2 to start, flex, and PPR, Waddle, Pittman, Devonta Smith. so I can pick 2. Okay, Greg. I would play. So Mitchell is your running back 2, and then I would probably go Pollard and Devonta Smith. And then if Henderson plays, I'll play Henderson, Mitchell, Smith. Who do I start in my flex this week? Hollywood, Hunt, or Chase? I would go with Hollywood against Detroit. Detroit is depleted. Hollywood's getting a lot of targets. Hard to sit Chase, but then it's easy to sit Chase because he's not really getting the volume that we want out of like a week-to-week starter. And Joe Burrow is getting picked off like it's his fucking job. You think Mike Williams can keep this up? Listen, I'm a Chargers fan. I'm a realistic Chargers fan, and I think he was a terrible pick at like 6th or 7th overall. But right now he's being used basically as the team's top option. Him and Keenan are like a 1A, 1B. You decide who's A and who's B, but they're doing what they said that they would. They lowered his ADOT. They're using him in the red zone. They're using him deep down the field as well as like in possession catch situations. The guy has looked fucking incredible. Might be biased, but I think he could be a top 15 wide receiver this year as long as he stays healthy. Talent was never a concern. It was usage and health. Right now, as those two stay intact, there's no reason to believe that he put up 2 fluke games in a row where he's seeing like 12 and, I don't know, 10 targets in the 2 games that he just played, albeit against not so great defenses. Actually, Washington's not bad. Dallas fucking stinks. But I do think against the Chiefs this week, he's going to feast as well. Which side do you like in redraft? Henderson, Sutton, Tyson, or Najee, Deontay, and Latavius? So for me, when I'm piecing these together, I would trade Henderson and Sutton to get Najee. Would I trade Deontay Johnson and Latavius to get Tyson? I'd probably say the Deontay side's better, so I would take Najee and Deontay, although that's a whole lot of an investment. That's a big investment in the Pittsburgh offense. But I would do it just because I like Najee and Deontay more than Henderson, Sutton, Tyson. But I do think Henderson is like a locked-in top 12, top 15 running back when healthy. It's just that Najee gets a million touches. Pick one for quarterback 2 in Superflex. Baker versus the Bears, Darnold versus the Texans, and Heineke versus, Jesus Christ, give me Jimmy Garoppolo against the Packers. But Darnold's a close second. I just don't want to see Darnold on Thursday Night Football and get disappointed and then have a terrible weekend because of it. Pick one. What is this? You traded Zeke and Woods for Kamara and Hardman. Was that a good trade? Yes. Hardman's terrible, but I would take Zeke and Woods for Kamara. I would rather Kamara. Should you start Cordarrelle over CEH if I'm holding with Gage out? I'm thinking Patterson sees. Yes, I would start Cordarrelle Patterson or Cordarrelle, however you pronounce it, over CEH this week. And for the same reason, I like James Robinson if Laviska is out because he's been playing not a lot of wide receiver, but a lot of receiving usage. So I think that he will stand to benefit from that. Would you play Chase over Miles Sanders or Gibson? No, I would not. Half PPR, Rondell or Jacoby Myers, Rondell more. You can't sit him right now unless you have like a bunch of good receivers. Favorite buy candidates, I assume you have no favorite sells because everyone on your teams are alphas. Not that I want to promote my own personal channel, but I did a video, put it up yesterday, about buys and sells. I'll give you little footnotes. I think right now, buy candidates, Antonio Gibson. I think another buy candidate could be Corey Davis, and I had one more. Brandon Cooks. Despite them not having a quarterback. Sells, I put CEH. I think any Tampa Bay wide receiver because they're just a fucking headache. And Deebo Samuel, depending on how you feel about Ayuk and Kittle. If you think Ayuk and Kittle are legit, then Deebo Samuel can't keep eating the way he's eating. He's extremely good, I get that. But they don't throw a shit ton. And if he's not throwing a shit ton, then it can't all go to Deebo and none to Ayuk and Kittle for the rest of the season. Channel that's not BBB. Yeah, it's just my name on YouTube. It's like linked to my Twitter. Chris Godwin for Josh Jacobs, Corey Davis Dynasty, 12-team PPR. That's extremely fair. Depends on your team matchup or your team build. But it's a fair trade. Probably slightly lean Godwin, though. What type of draft capital would you gamble for Ayuk? I'd still give up like a late first, although it might not take that to get him. Maybe like an early second and then throw in a third. What's the temperature check on Chark's outlook? This team's terrible. It's awful. And Marvin Jones is and looks to be continuing to be the wide receiver 1 in Jacksonville. Chark's talented. He dropped a few passes week 1. He got a whole lot of targets week 1. But this team is terrible. It's awful. It's hard to trust anybody. The only ones you can kind of trust are Marvin Jones and James Robinson. But even then, like, I don't know. Not a good look. Not a good look, fellas. Anything else? If not, I'm going to wrap this up in 5 to 10 minutes. I'm also going to do a live stream on that other channel Saturday for start sits, if you are interested, and if not, then so be it. So be it. Ooh, Jacoby Brissett is starting versus the Raiders. That'll be fun. When's the no regrets tech coming? It's actually already implanted here. That's why I'm wearing a shirt with a collar. Brian Edwards' outlook. Very similar to what I said about Chark. The talent is there. The situation isn't bad. It's the coaching staff that I think is fraudulent. They're finally starting to use Ruggs. Waller is solid. Not solid. He's awesome. And Derek Carr's looked good. I don't know. It's just a matter of situation, as it is for a lot of these guys. I think the talent's there. He doesn't separate a whole bunch, and for guys that don't separate, the quarterback has to have a whole lot of trust and throw into them. I think that's why Kenny Galladay isn't getting a lot of targets, because he's not a separator, but he catches the ball when he's not open. And I think that it takes a lot of trust for quarterbacks to throw to guys who don't look open. And it took like a whole year for Kenny Galladay to kind of gain the trust of Matt Stafford from his rookie year to his sophomore year. Sorry, flipping my fries. Don't worry. Are you still with BDGE brand? Just found your page. Yes. Well, this video is on a BDGE page. I just want to also build a personal page as well, where I can eventually put stuff beyond football. Biggest surprise that you think will stick this year? Carr. Listen, I don't think Carr looked all that good in his first game, and I didn't watch him play this past week. They just throw the ball out. I think he leads the league in attempts, I do believe. Biggest surprise. Justin Herbert and the team just not wanting to score is a surprise to me. I think Carolina's defense being as good as they are is a surprise. Sam Darnold's being decent is somewhat of a surprise. Or just a hairy meningitis. That sounds like a disease. I'm sorry if that's actually her name. Defense to pick up and stream this week. Choose Carolina. Carolina's a good defense in real life, and they play the Texans with Davis Mills starting. Go for it. But as far as the biggest surprise this year, I mean, Clyde-Hilaire sucking. Anthony Lynn still using shit running backs over good running backs. What else? Aaron Rodgers being a fraud? I don't know. Should you drop 2 and pick up Trey Lance? Yes. 2 quarterback league? Ooh, no. Just drop someone that's not a quarterback and pick up Trey Lance. How are we feeling about Zeke and Pollard? I think their roles are going to remain the same. And Zeke will continue to start. Does Lance play this year? Fields going to steal this job this week. Mooney shares finally going to shoot off. I think Lance will not play this year if they keep up how they're keeping up. I don't see a reason to make a quarterback switch if the team is playoff bound with Jimmy under center. Fields, I think, will steal the job this week. If not this week, then sometime in the future. And I think Mooney and A-Rob stand to benefit, despite A-Rob not wanting to catch balls thrown by Justin Fields last week. Folks, I may have a trade coming in live in my home league that we can analyze here. We shall see, though. We shall see. And I can talk you through my thought process as I think about processing the trade. No problem, chums. Love you, kid. What running back should I target with Mike Davis or Galladay package? Oh, a Mike Davis and Galladay package? That's tough because they're both sell lows. You'll probably get like fucking Elijah Mitchell for it. At this point, wait it out. Mike Davis had a pretty poor game against Tampa. He did well through the air. I would wait for him to dominate. I think the Giants this week they're playing. And then if they play the Giants, that means that fucking Galladay gets to play Atlanta. So I would just wait a week and see what happens. Let's see what this trade is looking like. Let's see what this trade is looking like. Oh, your name is Greek. Sorry to offend you. Sorry to offend you. Ooh, this trade is awful. I get Antonio Brown and Zeke. He gets Devontae and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yeah. Yeah, that's a big no. That's a big no. Can't do that. I don't know. I don't like AB that much. I don't think AB is worth. I wouldn't trade Devontae for AB and Zeke. I can't throw CEH on top, even though CEH sucks. Let's see if I can work out a little counter. No, that wasn't Dynasty. That was redraft. That was just for this year. I told him I think Zeke is done and Devontae is better than both of those two guys combined. For Keenan. I told him if we replace Devontae with Mike Williams, I'd probably take it. Josh, of course he would take you fucking fraud. You like AB only if Godwin or Evans misses time? Well, AB is the one missing time because the guy's got COVID. Yeah, CEH is garbage. I probably declined that a little bit too quickly because I need CEH gone and I like Zeke more than CEH, but that's just me. Clyde is worthless in my book. Whole lot of nothing. Whole lot of nothing. I told him I might do it with Keenan. My wide receivers in that league, it's a 16-person league, and I have Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Lamar Jackson. Don't have a tight end. You'd rather trade Smith than Mike Williams. Devonta Smith? Yes, I would. Sorry, I'm in a heated trade discussion. All right. Sorry. I'd rather keep Smith over Mike Williams. No, I'd rather have Mike Williams and Devonta Smith, but I know Mike Williams can get me more in return in a trade than can Devonta Smith, and I don't think he would take it for Devonta Smith. 12-team, 2-quarterback superflex league. Should I be aggressive and conservative with my weekly waiver claim? We have been a thin waiver wire every week, and so far I've been aggressive. Your thoughts? Thanks. I'd be aggressive as fuck. Like Elijah Mitchell, I would have spent $100 on him. But if there's any sort of quarterback with upside on waivers like Trey Lance, Justin Fields, or any other idiots, I drop $100 on them. My bench are Javonte, Melvin Gordon, Tyler Boyd, Jerry Jeudy, Chase Edmonds, Tua, and Rondell Moore, Marvin Jones. But that's a whole lot of names, and there's no question there. Bateman, Worth, and IR stash. Yes. Should I drop anybody for Trey Lance? Yes. Oh, there's your question. You should drop. Of those guys, I would drop Tyler Boyd. If it's a 2-quarterback league. If it's a 1-quarterback league, don't drop anyone. Noah looks like he hates being in this room, and he would rather be in his happy room and grow his personal page. I don't know what a happy room is. But all right. 12-team Superflex PPR Dynasty. Would you trade Akers, Bateman, and Osborne for CEH? No, I would not. I prefer Akers to CEH, despite him not having an Achilles tendon. Trade Deontay, Tyler Boyd, and Melvin Gordon for Godwin and Shepard. Yes, do that ASAP, especially because you have Javonte. Would you give up for Javonte? I really want him. Give up Mitchell, Sermon for him. Yes, I would give up both or either one for him. All right, chat. What do you think about this trade? I give up Keenan Allen and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I get Ezekiel Elliott. My wide receivers would then be Keenan Allen, or no, Devontae Adams, Devonta Smith, Cooper Kupp, Mike Williams. Might pull on it. Might do it. Might do it, kids. Might make a fool of myself. Who are your running backs? That's the issue with my team. My running backs stink. My full starting lineup. Ready? It's 16 man, one quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, a flex, defense kicker, whatever. I got Lamar Jackson. This is where it gets ugly. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kenyon Drake, and then I have Darrell Henderson on my bench because he might be dead. My wide receivers right now are Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, Devonta Smith, Mike Williams. My tight end is fucking Pat Freiermuth. They all stink. I'm not going to pay up for a tight end when they all stink. Ravens defense, and then I got Matt Prater, the drunk kicker. And then I also like stashed Justin Fields. It's a 1 quarterback league, but people are idiots. Chuba Hubbard, Tony Jones Jr., Ty Johnson. Here's my rationale. My receivers are good enough to make up for my shit running backs. Giving up Keenan Allen and CEH means my starting lineup would then be basically Keenan Allen and CEH or Mike Williams and Zeke. I don't know. Decisions. I think Ezekiel Elliott stinks, but who am I to judge? You would do it. I kind of have to do it. Yeah, I might be a fan of this trade. I hate Ezekiel Elliott. And he has a tough schedule, I think. But for as much as I hate him, I cannot stand Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Higher reward for the risk. True. Wait a week. That's what I was thinking. Clyde Edwards-Helaire plays the Chargers. The Chargers defense isn't good. Keenan Allen plays the Chiefs. He always kills the Chiefs. Zeke plays Philly. Philly's got a good run defense. And it'll also be interesting to see. Like, if Zeke has a really good week, I don't think people are going to think that Tony Pollard is dead. So maybe I'll wait a week. We all agree JT's a bum. 7 goal line carries and couldn't get in. That offense stinks. I don't know. Mike Williams, Dallas Goedert, Dave Montgomery for Dalvin Cook. Good trade. Yes, take Dalvin Cook there. Try not to do big trades before week 4. I'm notorious for making wild trades. I already made a trade to get Keenan Allen. I don't know how it got accepted. He actually sent it to me. We're going back and forth. I ended up getting Drake and Keenan Allen for Tyson Williams and fucking DJ Chark after week 1. So I don't know what's going on in this home league. It's a home league, though. That's what you expect. What can you do to upgrade my team? Tannehill, Najee, Carson, Mike Davis, Damian Harris, Tyson Williams, Amari, Boyd, Pittman, Judy, Ted and Kelsey. Definitely need some wide receivers. I would be willing to trade Tyson and Harris or Tyson and Davis for anything. Any good wide receivers. And with how many running backs you have, I would pair like maybe Boyd and Tyson for I was going to say Cooks, but Cooks doesn't have a quarterback. I don't know. Throw some deals out there like 2-for-1s like that or 1-for-1s with Tyson and Harris and Mike Davis for like middling to low-end wide receiver 2s. Like if Deontay Johnson wasn't dead, that's who I'd look to target. Cortland Sutton, because you have Judy on IR, just guys like that. All right, I'm going to be on for another 30 seconds and I'm going to dip. So if you have any final questions, let me know. Joe Lopez, yeah, I would keep Dalvin Cook. No, I don't think Jamar Chase will be a wide receiver 1 this year. Kid's good. I don't think he'll be a top 12 option, though. We got 10 seconds, and then we're out. I appreciate you guys jumping on. Catch you soon. And that's it. Have a good day, kids.